Hi, this is Mark.
Hi.
Bill has a hard time hearing.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Well, yeah, I have this friend who's a witness, and I always wanted to ask him this, but 'cause it always intrigued me, but I didn't want to make him feel weird or anything, so I just wanted to ask someone. Sorry, 7. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, my phone did kind of a weird thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just wondering what's wrong with Thanksgiving, the holiday?
Well, there's really, we consider every day a day of Thanksgiving, but
So do I.
typically most of the holidays are founded on non-religious type activities, and I'm sure you know about Christmas and how it's founded and so forth. But yeah, you can just simply Google it and a lot of these different holidays, and you can see where they're founded.
Well, Thanksgiving began, with the first settlers here, right?
Yeah, supposedly.
So what do you think it originated in?
Yeah. I can get you some information if you'd like me to send you something.
Well, I don't want any kind of, printed information or anything. I just want to know from your heart, why they would prohibit and be against such a wonderful thing. It brings families together. It does kind of cause people to think about God, because now I know some people call it Turkey Day because they don't want to. Because when you say Thanksgiving, you're implying that things come from the good hand of the Lord, Here's a little quote about it. It says that this famous guy made this quote about it. He said, "The Pilgrims made 7 times more graves than huts. No Americans have been more impoverished than these, who nevertheless set aside a day of Thanksgiving." So they had amazing thankfulness and praise to God for his providence and blessing, even though I think half of them had died, that year. I think it was half. I need to check that, but quite a lot of them from the conditions and sickness and everything.
Yeah, it's considered a secular holiday, and there's really nothing that's founded on, the scriptures, on the Bible, and you were alluding to a point just a moment ago that about bringing families together. Well, there's no other book than the Bible that brings families together, and that preserves marriages and builds values and sustains values and so forth. But
wow, I just think it's such a beautiful thing for families to get together at a time when everybody has off work and people come from far away, and I imagine that kind of divides you all from your families that aren't Jehovah Witnesses. And I think it's really sad, and for no reason. There's no sin in it whatsoever. They seem to have a lot of extra biblical mandates.
Right. We enjoy being together as families and spending time together. You're right, that is a beautiful thing. So we're not
Aren't people who aren't witnesses called bad association? Because I seem to read something about that.
Only if
Hello?
Only if they are doing things that knowingly are bad.
Well, I seem to read one thing that seemed to imply everybody who's not a Jehovah's Witness is bad association. But, oh well. Well, I just wanted to see what you think about that, and it doesn't really have any pagan origins. I think it's really beautiful, and it just makes my heart sad that they have so many rules.
Have you ever gone on to the JW.org?
Yeah. But I also like to research a little more deeply into their older publications because, it's good to examine the origins of things. And they don't really have much information about an accurate, full history of the organization. I actually find a more accurate and full history on Wikipedia that's very accurate that will tell you many things that are not on JW.org. They're kind of trying to erase, some of that history. But anyways, hey, thanks for talking to me about it.
Yeah, the one other thing Bill was looking this up here as we were talking, and there is a journal. You're familiar with the Watchtower and the Awake, and if you want to look it up in the future, now or in the future, December 6, 28, 2000, that would be the 2006 Awake, and it's entitled Pilgrims and Puritans, Who Were They? So there's an article for you to consider. Well,
like I said, I just wanted to hear your heart on it. I didn't hear, much really anything
well, you
on
sound like
reason.
You've got a lot of interesting questions and whatever. Have you ever been to a meeting? Have you ever been to a Kingdom Hall?
I actually have. I actually visited one recently. I had kind of a bad experience there. I wanted to ask this lady about some things I heard about in the news about child sexual abuse scandals that they're having. This is real. This is in, reliable news outlets lately. And someone overheard me, and they said I had to leave. So it wasn't it was a strange experience to me that he was listening to my question. And I don't know, it's like he is calling me names like an apostate, for asking that. I found it a very strange place, to be honest, but, since you asked, I wasn't going to bring it up, but I don't know what's up with that.
Was that in this area or what?
No, it was in my area.
And where is your area, may I ask?
I just want to kind of be anonymous. After that experience, I was a little freaked out by it. Is that a common occurrence?
Yeah, so.
The lady I was talking to didn't even seem to know about it. There's been a flood of child sexual abuse scandals coming out in the news lately. And, I just wanted to ask her about it, what she thought about it. And I think it's important for you guys to know about it, for the sake of the children and to look into what's going on.
We are, and that's why we try to, just as in the early days of the apostles, keeping the congregation clean. You were talking about the word apostate or apostasy. That has to do with knowingly trying to be disruptive and, knowingly trying to subvert the scriptures.
Well, it wasn't talking anything about scripture. I was just asking about the Australia Royal Commission on Child Sexual Abuse case study number 29, where they pretty much said it's children are at risk in the organization because they have this thing called the two-witness rule that they won't look into it even unless two people were witnesses to it. And in Australia, they had over 1,000 pedophiles on this data, that they had database, and they didn't call police on any of them. So that's the kind of things that are coming out. And so it seems like a fair question for a visitor to ask, if they saw that in the news without being called a name. It was very disturbing to me.
Right. That's not that's not the norm. So without knowing the full situation here, you know, you're, you know, I'm not saying you're trying to be vague, but somewhat mysterious. So, yeah.
Well, maybe you could look into it.
We're concerned about children. We're concerned about the entire family, and nothing more abhorrent than the abuse of children.
Right, that's what they state that in their magazine too. But they're exploring the policies, not the Watchtower statements that it's abhorrent. They're exploring the actual cover-ups and the policies. In California, they're paying $4,000 a day for not surrendering to the court documents concerning this. And the judge is fed up with it. He denied their appeal and said they're obscuring justice, actually. Obstructing.
That sounds like the Catholic Church.
It really does. It really does, doesn't it? And that's interesting that you should say that, because they certainly wrote articles about that in their magazines, but I don't actually see their cases on jw.org. So I find it quite concerning that they seem to be keeping it from the people. So. Well, check it out if you're concerned about it.
I've got to get into a meeting here. So,
okay. Well, thanks for talking.
Appreciate you calling.
Okay. Thanks a lot. God bless.